You are the richest man on earth. You build rockets for fun. You sell flamethrowers as a side project. You run more companies before breakfast than most people manage in a lifetime. You have your own space program, your own electric car company, your own social media platform. You are literally trying to colonize Mars. Mars, not a beach house, not a private island, an entire planet. On paper, this sounds like the greatest life ever lived. Every single morning you wake up and you are still you, Elon Musk. So why are we here? Because behind every rocket launch, behind every $1 billion, behind every viral tweet, there is a story. And that story is so brutal, so relentless, so completely exhausting that by the end of this video, you might just be relieved you were born as yourself. This is why it sucks to be born as Elon Musk. Elon Reeve Musk was born on June 28, 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa. And from the very first chapter of his life, the universe decided to throw everything it had at this kid. His father, Elon Musk, was an engineer. His mother, May, was a model and a dietitian. Sounds like a comfortable, stable household, right? Wrong. Elon Musk is a man who, by most accounts, including Elon's own, was emotionally abusive, controlling, and by all descriptions, absolutely terrible to be around. Elon has publicly called his father a terrible human being. Not once. Multiple times, on record. Those are his words, not mine. So little Elon grew up in a house with a father he couldn't stand, in a country going through the enormous political turmoil, with apartheid still tearing South Africa apart at the seams. Not exactly the warm, nurturing environment you'd expect to produce the world's richest person. What did Elon do? He read, obsessively, compulsively. By the age of 9, he had finished every single book in his school library. Everyone. When he ran out of books at school, he moved to the local public library. When he ran out of books there, he started reading encyclopedias cover to cover. The entire Encyclopedia Britannica, for fun, at age 9. By 10, he had taught himself how to code. By 12, he had built his own video game from scratch, a space game called Blaster, and sold it to a computer magazine for $500. 12 years old, $500. Most kids that age are arguing about whose turn it is on the family computer. But here is where it starts to really suck. Because while Elon was busy becoming a walking encyclopedia and teaching himself programming, his classmates were busy making his life absolutely miserable. He was bullied, not just teased, not just excluded, brutally, physically bullied. There is one incident that Elon has talked about where a group of boys grabbed him and threw him down a full flight of concrete stairs. Then they beat him while he was on the ground. He ended up in the hospital. His face was so badly damaged that he required surgery. He couldn't breathe properly through his nose for years afterward. Think about that. The future richest man on earth lying at the bottom of a staircase and being kicked by a group of kids who probably can't even remember his name today. He had almost no friends. He was small. He was awkward. He was the kid who read encyclopedias instead of playing football. He existed in his own world because the real world didn't want him in it. At 17, you look at your life in South Africa, the cold father, the bullying, the political chaos, the mandatory military service coming for every young man, and you make a decision. You are leaving. Not with a plan, not with money, not with connections, just with a passport and enough stubbornness to fill a rocket fuel tank. You move to Canada first because your mother has Canadian roots and papers are easy. You arrive essentially alone. Just you, a new country, and absolutely nothing else. To survive, you take whatever work you can find. You work on a farm, you work at a lumber mill, and then, this is my favorite part of your entire story, you sit down and calculate very deliberately which available job pays the most money per hour for unskilled labor. The answer is cleaning the boiler room of a lumber mill, a confined, scorching hot space filled with hardened industrial waste. Workers have to crawl inside in a hazmat suit and shovel the waste out by hand. It pays $18 an hour. Most people take one look and walk away. You put on the suit and get to work because $18 is $18. This is you, the future owner of a space company, crawling through an industrial boiler room in a hazmat suit because the math makes sense. You eventually make it to Queen's University, then transfer to the University of Pennsylvania on a scholarship. But even at university, money is a massive problem. You are so broke that you and a friend rent a large house and turn it into an unofficial nightclub on weekends just to cover rent. You charge entry. You sell drinks. It barely works. You calculate you can survive on $1 a day for food if you have to. Hot dogs, oranges, pasta. That is your diet. The future owner of a rocket company eating hot dogs on $1 a day. In 1995, you get accepted into a PhD program at Stanford University. Energy physics, one of the most prestigious programs in the world. You show up, look around, think about it for exactly 2 days, and drop out to start a company. 2 days. Stanford PhD, gone. You and your brother Kimball start a company called Zip2, an online city guide like a digital yellow pages with maps. At a time when most people have never heard of the internet, your office is a single rented room. You share one computer, which means you code during the day and the computer becomes the server at night so you cannot use it. You sleep on a beanbag because you cannot afford an apartment. You shower at the YMCA down the street. Every week is a question of whether the company survives. It survives, more than survives. You sell it for $307 million. Your personal share, $22 million. From a beanbag in a rented office. Most people stop there. Most people take $22 million and buy a house and a boat and spend the rest of their life being perfectly comfortable. Not you. You take that money and immediately bet the vast majority of it on an online bank called X.com, which eventually becomes PayPal. PayPal works brilliantly. But here is the part nobody puts in the inspirational posts. While you are on your honeymoon, your actual honeymoon, with your actual new wife, your board of directors holds a meeting without you and votes to remove you as CEO of the company you founded with your own money on your honeymoon. You land back home no longer running your own company. When eBay buys PayPal for $1.5 billion, you walk away with $180 million and zero role in the business you built. $180 million. You could stop, you could rest, you could go back on that honeymoon properly. Instead, you do something every financial advisor, every investor, every rational person in your life tells you is insane. You split your $180 million between two companies, a rocket company called SpaceX and an electric car company called Tesla. In 2008, both companies are simultaneously on the absolute edge of collapse. SpaceX has launched 3 rockets. All 3 have exploded. Not metaphorically, but only literally exploded. Millions of dollars of engineering and human effort gone in a fireball each time. You have enough money left for exactly one more launch. One. If rocket number 4 explodes, SpaceX is finished. At the exact same time, Tesla is dying. The 2008 financial crisis has destroyed investor confidence. Suppliers are threatening to stop delivering parts. You are personally out of money. Genuinely, completely broke. You are borrowing money from friends to pay your own rent. The man worth hundreds of millions just years ago, borrowing money from friends. You are not sleeping. You are crying at random moments. The stress is physical. You can feel it in your body. You will later describe 2008 as the worst year of your life. On November 15th, 2008, the 4th Falcon 1 rocket launches from a tiny island in the Pacific Ocean. You watch, you wait, it works. The first privately funded liquid-fueled rocket in history to reach orbit. Days later, NASA awards SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. Tesla secures emergency funding. Both companies survive. You have gone from the absolute edge of total ruin to saving everything in a single week. But the cost, the psychological, physical, emotional cost of those years is something you will carry forever. Today, you are worth somewhere between $300 and $400 billion. You are the richest human being on the planet by a margin almost impossible to comprehend. You own SpaceX, Tesla, X, The Boring Company, Neuralink, XAI. You are trying to send humans to Mars within this decade. You sleep 6 hours a night. You work 7 days a week. Your brain runs constantly, generating ideas, anxieties, plans at a rate you cannot control and cannot turn off. You have been married and divorced 3 times. You have 11 children. By your own account, you are not a present father. You find sustained human connection genuinely difficult. You wake up every morning knowing thousands of people, companies, and governments are actively working against you. Lawsuits, regulators, journalists, former employees, competitors. Being you means never having a quiet day. You once said, completely unprompted, that you never wanted to be CEO of 2 companies at the same time, that you do not enjoy it, that you do it because you believe you have to, not because it makes you happy. $300 billion, 11 children, 5 companies, 0 days off. And by your own words, not my interpretation, your own words, you still have not figured out how to be happy. That is what it actually costs to be you. So there it is, the real cost of being the richest man on earth, bullied as a child, cleaning sewage as a teenager, sleeping on a beanbag in your own office, fired from your own company on your honeymoon, nearly bankrupt twice in the same year, and even after achieving everything, the rockets, the billions, the Mars plan, you still work 7 days a week doing jobs you do not want to do, surrounded by lawsuits, still searching for something that $300 billion has not managed to buy you. Still want to be Elon Musk. Next time we are looking at someone whose life might actually be even harder, subscribe so you do not miss it.